The movie begins with three friends, Sam, Matt, and Zane, planning a trip to a remote island resort in the ocean. It turns out that Matt and Zane arranged this trip for Sam, who is recently separated from his wife, Eden. Their goal is to help him overcome his sadness. Meanwhile, Reese, the resort owner, is standing with a man named Lewis. We learn that Lewis is an inspector from the Environmental Protection Agency. Lewis tells Reese that they've received numerous complaints from guests who stayed at Reese's resort, claiming they developed skin diseases after swimming in the sea. Reese tries to deny this, assuring Lewis that the resort's beach water is clean and free of harmful substances. Lewis remains unconvinced. He hands Reese a box containing chemical test kits and advises him to test the seawater daily to ensure the safety of the resort's guests. Lewis leaves, but Reese ignores the warning and throws the box onto the ground. Elsewhere in the resort, two staff members are in the sea trying to catch fish for their lunch. They're confused when the fish suddenly and inexplicably disappear from the water. Suddenly, a giant, terrifying shark emerges from the water, spraying a sticky green substance onto the workers. It then attacks and devours them one by one. At the same time, Reese returns to the resort and meets two other staff members, Jess and Irene. We learn that Jess works as a medic, while Irene is the resort's administrative manager. Irene and Jess inform Reese that their colleagues who went fishing have not returned. Reese instructs Jess to take a boat and search for them. Back on the beach, Sam is walking with his friends when he is shocked to see his ex-wife, Eden, at the same resort. Eden realizes that her friends Capra and Gabby engineered this trip to get her to meet Sam. It becomes clear that Capra and Gabby did this in coordination with Zane and Matt. Everyone hopes Sam and Eden will get back together. However, Eden is displeased by the situation and argues with Sam, accusing him of trying to get close to her to reconcile. Sam denies this, explaining that he didn't know she was there and that he wouldn't have come if he had. Eden gets angry and wants to leave the resort, but Capra and Gabby refuse to let her go. Zane steps in and convinces Eden to stay at the resort, agreeing with Sam that he will stay away from any area where Eden is. Everyone approves of this solution. Reese gathers all the resort guests, welcomes them, and wishes them a pleasant stay. A short time later, Jess goes to take a boat to search for his missing colleagues but discovers the boat is broken down. As he tries to fix it, the shark suddenly hits the boat from beneath the water. Jess falls and looks into the water to see what hit the boat, but he doesn't see anything. Jess is frightened by what happened and decides to return to the resort. At that moment, Eden is sitting with Capra on the beach. Capra notices a bracelet on Eden's wrist. Eden explains that the bracelet contains a magnet. She tells Capra that when the magnet is submerged in seawater, it emits specific magnetic waves that repel sharks. We learn that Eden specializes in oceanography and is afraid of sharks, which is why she wears the bracelet all the time. Meanwhile, their friend Gabby is swimming in the sea. Eden and Capra are startled when they see two young men carrying Gabby out of the water. They rush over and discover she's been injured on her leg. They ask the men to quickly take Gabby to the resort clinic. Elsewhere, a female staff member is riding a horse along the beach when the shark suddenly emerges from the water and devours her. At the clinic, Jess begins to examine Gabby's injury. Gabby tells him she felt something grabbing her leg. Jess calms her, suggesting it might have been a jellyfish or coral, and begins treating her wound. Eden wants to stay with Gabby, but Gabby insists she go with Capra and enjoy their time on the beach. Capra keggs Eden, and they head to the beach to relax. Jess goes to Irene and tells her that their colleague who took the horse out for a ride has not returned. Jess is worried about the sudden disappearance of their friends. Irene calms him down, saying they are on a large island and their colleagues probably just went for a walk and will be back soon. In another part of the island, a group of guests is practicing yoga. After they finish, they go for a swim in the sea. The shark emerges, sprays its sticky substance on them, and kills them all. At this time, Jess and his colleague Hayden are walking along the beach searching for their missing friends. They suddenly find a telephone cable strangely cut, which is the main line connecting them to the mainland. They're upset because the cable being cut isolates them from the main shore, and they wonder how the cable was cut this way. They continue on their way until they find the box of chemical test kits and keep it. They continue searching for their colleagues until they find one of their dismembered arms on the beach. Terrified, they quickly return to the resort. In a different location on the island, the shark attacks and devours 3 surfers. Jess returns to the resort and tells Irene and Reese what happened. Irene is terrified by Jess's story, as it has only one explanation. A shark in the water is attacking humans. They realize they must warn everyone at the resort immediately. Jess gives Reese the box of chemical test kits he found. Reese puts it on a shelf. He then addresses Irene's fear, trying to downplay the shock for her and Jess. He also considers the business aspect, telling them that if news of the shark spreads, the resort will lose a lot of money. Jess and Irene remind him that people's lives are far more important than money. Reese agrees to warn the guests not to enter the water, but asks them not to mention the shark, instead claiming that the water contains toxic substances. At that very moment, Sam and his friends, including Eden and Capra, are playing tug-of-war. They are all horrified when the shark emerges from the water in front of them. As usual, it sprays the sticky substance on them and then attacks and eats Matt. Everyone rushes out of the water in a state of shock and extreme fear. Jess and Irene arrive and are equally horrified. Jess finds that everyone who was hit by the substance the shark sprayed has become ill and lost consciousness. Jess and Reese try to check their condition. Sam stands with Eden to be close to her, as she and Capra are terrified. Zan is also tense and scared for his life after what happened. Irene tries to send an SOS message to the Coast Guard, but finds that all communication lines are down. She asks Reese to find a way to evacuate people from the island immediately. Later, Eden and her friends go to the clinic to check on Gabby, but find her in very bad condition. Her body is shaking violently and she's speaking incoherently. Jess suspects her wound was contaminated by the seawater, which is full of the toxic substance the shark continuously sprays, and the injury has affected her mental health. Irene enters, and they ask her to take Gabby to the hospital immediately. Irene tells them that communications are down and she can't contact any hospital right now. Sam suggests they take Gabby to the hospital themselves. Reese enters and tells them they can use the resort's boats. Jess reminds him that the resort only has 2 boats, and one is already broken. Despite this, they decide to take Gabby to the main shore on the working boat, where they can take her to the hospital and call for help for the people on the island. They all move towards the boat, but Gabby bites Jess's arm and she turns into a zombie, attacking anyone in front of her. Gabby attempts to attack Eden, but Sam prevents her by pushing her away. Suddenly, the shark emerges from the sea and eats Gabby. Reese drives the boat away with Capra inside. Capra asks him to return to take the others, but he yells at her to be quiet and tells her he will go get help in return for them. However, the boat's engine suddenly breaks down. Reese tries to fix it, but the shark leaps out of the water and eats him. The boat's engine overheats badly and catches fire. Moments later, the engine explodes, completely destroying the boat. Eden is devastated by what happened. She can't process the idea of losing her closest friends all at once. Suddenly, she jumps into the water saying she's going to save Capra. Sam jumps in after her, trying to stop her, thinking she's hysterical and hallucinating. However, Eden is right as they see Capra coming towards them in the sea. They quickly swim towards them and help her out of the water. It turns out Capra jumped into the water before the boat exploded. They quickly take her back to the clinic where they discover Capra has a shoulder injury. Jess quickly treats her injury, but they're surprised to see Capra starting to behave like Gabby when she was injured. At that moment, Irene goes out and asks everyone in the resort to return to their rooms until they find a way to evacuate them. Then she returns to the clinic and discusses their current situation with the others. Jess tells her that their situation is difficult and they have no means to reach the main shore and call for help. Irene reminds him that there is still 1 boat left at the resort. He tells her it's broken and needs someone to fix it. Sam tells them he has experience repairing boats and can fix it. At the same moment, Leo and Hayden come in and inform them they need someone to go with them to fix the telephone cable. They all agree that Zane should go with them. Sam, Jess, and Irene head off to fix the boat. Eden stays with Capra to look after her. When Zane, Leo, and Hayden go to fix the cable, the shark attacks and devours Leo. Hayden shoots the shark with an arrow, wounding it. Zane tries to do the same, but accidentally hits Hayden in the leg with an arrow instead of the shark. Hayden screams in pain. Zane goes to her, apologizes, and quickly takes her out of the water. Meanwhile, Eden is searching for anything to give Capra to help her sleep and rest. By chance, Eden finds the box of chemical test kits. Because Eden is a specialist, she realizes these substances are used to test seawater. She takes the box and goes to the sea to find the cause of the problem. At the same time, Sam discovers that the substance the shark sprays in the water caused corrosion to the boat's hull. He begins trying to find a way to fix the damage. Suddenly, Jess turns into a zombie due to Gabby's bite. He attacks Irene and throws her into the water. Then he attacks Sam, trying to bite him, but Sam defends himself and fights with Jess with all his might. Irene gets out of the water and attacks Jess, hitting him on the head, which knocks him out. They tie Jess up and take him back to the clinic,
But they are surprised to find that Eden and Capra are not there. At the same moment, Zane and Hayden arrive at the clinic. Irene is shocked to learn that the shark ate their colleague Leo. Zane is surprised to see Jess tied up to a chair and terrified when he learns he turned into a zombie. Amidst all this, Hayden asks them to treat her. Zane approaches her and holds her tightly so Irene can remove the arrow from her leg, as there is no other solution. Meanwhile, Eden is at the sea, testing the water. She discovers it is indeed contaminated with toxic substances. Eden decides to enter the sea and approaches the shark strangely. The shark rapidly approaches her, about to eat her, but suddenly backs away. Sam arrives at that moment and quickly pulls Eden out of the water. Once they reach the shore, Sam is puzzled by Eden's behavior. She explains that she discovered the seawater was poisoned by waste dumped by ships, which also poisoned the shark and turned it into a strange type that constantly secretes a toxic substance. Sam asks her why she approached the shark. Eden tells him the bracelet she's wearing has a magnet, and she wanted to see if the shark would be affected by the magnetic field. Sam shouts at her, calling it reckless, as he was very worried about her. Eden realizes Sam cares about her. She apologizes for the misunderstanding they had recently, and Sam apologizes too. They decide to reconcile. Sam then takes Eden to the clinic, where Eden tells Zane and Irene what she discovered. Sam decides to take Zane to fix the boat. Eden and Irene go to search for Capra in the resort. Zane and Sam manage to fix the boat and take it out on the water to test it. However, the shark hits the boat from beneath the water, and Zane falls out. The shark passes by him but doesn't eat him. Zane quickly swims back to the boat. Sam forcefully pulls him up out of the water. They head back toward the island before the shark attacks them again. Zane is injured in the leg and bleeding. It turns out the shark struck Zane with its fin when it approached him underwater. The shark chases the boat, hitting it hard and stalling the engine. Zane and Sam brace themselves for the shark's attack, but it moves away from them. On the island, Jess wakes up, frees himself, gets up, attacks Hayden, and bites her. At this time, Eden and Irene are searching for Capra. Eden passes the yoga room and enters it to take the magnets used during therapeutic exercises. Eden explains the benefit of the magnets to Irene, saying they will help repel the shark. However, as they leave the room, they're horrified to see Capra standing in front of them, having also turned into a zombie. Suddenly, Capra and the rest of the resort's guests, who have all turned into zombies, attack them. They run as fast as they can until they reach the sea. Zane and Sam see them and call out to them. Eden and Irene have no choice but to jump into the sea. At that moment, the shark arrives and attacks all the zombies, eliminating them one after another. This gives Eden and Irene a chance to reach the boat. Zane and Sam help them onto the boat quickly. Sam manages to restart the boat's engine, and they head toward the main shore. But the engine catches a fire from overheating. They all quickly move to put out the fire with water before the engine explodes. Coincidentally, the boat is stopped in the exact spot where the other boat exploded. Irene tells them that the boat exploded had a box containing a flare gun. Eden decides to dive into the water to find the gun, having a specific plan to eliminate the shark. Sam refuses to let her dive alone and decides to go with her. Eden agrees. They tie the magnets to their legs before diving to ensure the shark won't approach them. They both jump into the water and search for the gun. Meanwhile, Zane turns into a zombie.
He attacks Irene, trying to bite him, but Irene hits him with a paddle, knocking him into the sea. The shark quickly arrives and eats him. Eden and Sam find the box with the gun, they take it and quickly get out of the water. They're upset when they hear about what happened to Zane, but Eden acts quickly, knowing the shark will attack them. She gives the gun to Sam and tells him there are only 3 flares left. She asks him to focus and aim for a fatal shot. Unfortunately, the shark hits the boat, and 1 flare falls into the water from Sam's hand. Sam loads the 2nd flare into the gun. As the shark approaches, he shoots the flare, but fails to hit it. The shark continues to charge and hits the boat violently. Irene loses her balance from the impact and falls into the sea. Eden gives Sam the bag with the magnet and tells him to throw it at the shark to repel it. Sam waits for the right moment. As the shark leaps out of the water, he throws the bag at it and it lands inside its mouth. The magnet inside the bag causes the shark to become disoriented, and it thrashes around randomly until it jumps onto the boat and destroys it. Fortunately, Sam and Eden are unharmed. Eden seizes the opportunity. She uses the last flare in the gun, carefully aiming and shooting the shark. The flare hits it, and the shark explodes and dies. They use the remains of the boat to swim until they reach the main shore. However, Sam and Eden are shocked to find that Irene has been bitten and is turned into a zombie.